Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tesla's earnings call has just finished, and we got a lot of big news. Lots of big news. Now, I have 3 pages of notes, okay? 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, almost 4 pages. And some of this new information is more important than others. We got specific guidance on robotaxi deployments between now and year end. That number is going to shock you. And Elon gave guidance on Optimus. They talked a lot about Optimus on today's earnings call. So we're going to go through some of the notes here. I'm going to give you my thoughts on what's the deal with the stock. The stock at the time of recording this video is down about 3%. At one point, it was down close to about 5%, and then it started to recover. Long story short, I don't think this is the right reaction for the stock. And I do think coming tomorrow, you're going to see a very favorable reaction in the stock price. Do me a quick favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check that link out down below in the description of this video if you want to come join the trading community. I put about $10,000 into markets today in 3 different stocks that I believe are undervalued AI opportunities. And that's the area we're focusing on, is those smaller companies that Wall Street largely does not cover, that can have this opportunity profile that you're just not going to find in larger companies, okay? Where the risk reward is exponential to the upside. Okay, that is how we're able to drive the kind of returns that we are getting. And again, long story short, link is down below in the description of this video if you want to come check it out. But let's start here. So this is really in like order of the conference call. So this first page is the first part of the conference call. Second page is like middle of the conference call. This last page is like the end of the conference call. So we're going to run through some of this pretty quickly. Elon at the start of the conference call says that Tesla is at a critical inflection point. He says that nobody can do what Tesla can do in regards to real world AI from a manufacturing perspective, from an inference perspective, and a overall, management perspective. Elon says Tesla has the best real world AI, period. There's nobody that's really going to argue that. Tesla's real world AI applications, Optimus and Robotaxi, FSD, right? Nobody can stand a candle to that. Okay. Now there's a difference between large language models and real world AI. Nobody is doing what Tesla can. Even Apple gave up semi-recently, a couple of years ago, on trying to develop autonomous vehicles. Back in 2017, Tim Cook said autonomous vehicles are the holy grail of AI. It's something that would have a profound impact on society on a large scale. So we kind of already knew this, but again, it sounds good to hear it, so I wrote it down. Elon said that he didn't want to expand Tesla's production capabilities until he was confident that Tesla would achieve unsupervised FSD. Elon Musk says he is now confident that Tesla will achieve unsupervised FSD, and they're actually looking to ramp production as fast as they possibly can. He said they see a lot of potential for Tesla's battery packs into the future. Elon says Optimus will be the biggest product of all time, potentially, and he doesn't think anyone else can compete from a robotics standpoint. Again, like Elon talks about on the conference call, which we talk about on this channel all the time, the reason Tesla will be successful with humanoid robots and the #1 player in humanoid robots is not necessarily that they're going to be the fastest one to create the best robot. Now, I think a lot of companies are pretty neck and neck with Tesla. I think Boston Dynamics, I think Figure, like they have impressive robots. What they don't have is the manufacturing, the capability to create supply chains. Like Elon said on the conference call, there is no supply chain for humanoid robots. You think Figure is going to be able to build factories and or even, contract manufacture their robotics parts? No, it's it's one thing to make, prototypes. It's another thing to make thousands or millions of robots at scale. Okay. And that's going to be the biggest differentiator in Tesla being successful in robotics and other companies that will not be. Now, Elon says that Optimus V3 will likely be unveiled in Q1. He said around February or March. And he says it will seem like a person that is in a robot suit. He said that it will seem real. Now, there's some comments on this later on in these notes. But even at the Tron event, Elon Musk said that a lot of people did not know that was an actual humanoid robot. Like, a lot of people thought that was just a suit. Okay, which is kind of incredible, considering there was nobody controlling that thing remotely. It was doing kung fu autonomously by itself, and people thought it was a human in a suit, basically, which just shows the level of almost human-like that Optimus is becoming. And now Austin, robotaxi coverage is on pace to expand further from here. So this is not the end of expansion in Austin. And Elon says they're working to get FSD approved in China and other countries on a larger scale basis. Now, Elon says that no safety drivers will be in the car in Austin by the end of this year. This is one of the biggest bombshells from this conference call. Robotaxi will be in 8 to 10 metro areas by end of the year. The biggest gripe I had with Tesla's last earnings, and I think what dinged the stock a bit, was we did not hear specific numbers on Robotaxi, on expected kind of rollout, nothing about 2026, nothing about 2025. But Elon says 8 to 10 metro areas by the end of this year, not next year, the end of this year. They specifically mention Nevada, Florida, Arizona by the end of this year, and more than 1 million Robotaxi miles so far have been driven, paid miles. So that was pretty impressive as well. Tesla says demand for Megapacks continues to be strong into next year. They talked a lot about energy consumption, that basically in the US, we have production capability of energy at 1 terawatt. We only use about 500, gigawatts per day, because there's a big difference between energy usage during the day and at night. Elon's basically saying there's going to be so much demand for batteries, just from the simple fact of, if you have enough batteries to capture that energy that we already produce, you could double energy output without creating a single additional energy factory. Okay. When you think about it like that, the demand for their Megapacks is going to be insane for a long time. And I think we better just get used to that. Now, this was surprising to hear. Tesla says there is a surge in residential solar demand in the US with a new panel with state-of-the-art features. It looks better as well, that will be shipping in Q1. Elon Musk, not to jump around too much, but Elon Musk says that Optimus in their factories is so good at this point, it's walking around 24 hours a day. If you go and visit the factory and ask it to take you to a specific meeting room or whatever, the robot will walk you to where you are trying to go. It's learning its surroundings, which is pretty incredible. Elon says the AI5 chip will be 40x better, potentially, than AI4. And he basically breaks it down like NVIDIA. When they make their chips, they're making chips for customers to do a wide range of tasks. Okay. Whereas Tesla is making chips for themselves to do one thing. So they don't have to have as many, I guess Elon described them as highways that lead to nowhere. They can really redefine what they need in their chips, which is going to make the AI5 chip much better than the AI4. Now, he says that 3 million vehicles could be the annual run rate for production within the next 24 months. He basically says, again, just this is kind of commonsensical, but to hear it like this makes sense, that the limiting factor to getting to 3 million production run rate on vehicles is the slowest part of the supply chain. Okay. So yeah, that again, that sounds good to hear, but doesn't really move the needle too much. But Elon says that Tesla is going to expand production as fast as possible. Cybercab will start production in Q2 of next year, the largest volume production increase. So some of the volume increase of production that Tesla is referencing is their plans on launching the Cybercab. Again, no steering wheel, no pedal. This thing's going to start running out to probably 20 cities by then, I would imagine. If we're going to get 8 to 10 by the end of this year, by the midpoint of next year, you should hopefully be looking at like 20 cities and then maybe add another 10 in the back half of next year. Elon says he's 100% confident that Tesla can solve FSD to massively exceed human levels of safetiness. And he does also reference that once Tesla has, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 million vehicles out on the road, that some of them are going to be idle, sleeping. He says if each vehicle has 1 kilowatt of essentially compute, if there's 100 million vehicles out on the road, that is 100 gigawatts of compute that Tesla could use as an asset to license out in the future. Again, kind of like a mobile data center. Okay. Which Elon calls that an asset. So that's something that we've heard before, but again, is one of those adjacent business models that, long-term could actually be something. Now, Elon says Optimus at scale is the quote-unquote infinite money glitch, that Optimus can operate 24 hours a day. And he does say, which I don't think I've heard this before. He says that Optimus can operate tethered. So like just staying plugged in, which I feel like that's probably common sense. But I haven't heard Elon say that before. So there is going to be a tethered aspect to Optimus where it can just stand there and do one task 24 hours a day. Just all day, every day, plugged in. So that was interesting. Elon says there's essentially no limit on AI embodied. He says if there is any component or company that can do Optimus at scale, it's Tesla. And again, he went on to say that, again, manufacturing all of these components to Optimus, 10,000 different parts, there's no supply chain. So he says Tesla's really in a unique situation where they have the AI capabilities already. They have the manufacturing capabilities and the expertise in manufacturing with, resources and production capability and room to actually produce Optimus, that, it's going to be really difficult for other robotics companies to even try to compete. So the Bay Area, I have this wrote down. Basically, there's partially the situation of Tesla it does need some approval processes to eliminate the safety driver. But Tesla says that every city they launch in will have a safety driver because they don't want that 1 in 10,000 incident where there's a really tricky intersection to cause a crash, and that to be frontline headline news globally, right? Elon and Tesla know just how bullied they are by the media, that if there were to be some kind of accident, that would be a really bad situation. So Elon basically says that, hey, we do this, regulation or not, for at least 3 months to make sure that, there's nothing we're missing in our geo-fenced area that could cause a problem for the vehicles, that could cause a crash, right? That's the most important thing. You don't want a crash. You don't want, somebody to get hurt. That would not be good. And Tesla basically says whether cities want safety drivers or not, they're going to put them in the vehicles for a certain period of time to make sure that, things will go smoothly. So I think that's just really good business practice. Elon and Tesla say that they could, roll out robotaxis without safety drivers, but that one odd moment where the vehicle, makes a mistake, before it knows the area well, it would just cost the company way too much. Okay. So I actually think that's a really smart move by Tesla. Elon was also asked by, I believe it was Dan Levy on the conference call. He said that V14 feels different, and basically Elon said that it is different, but the first iterations of a new FSD launch are going to have some bugs related to them, and he says 14.2 is going to be a lot better. They talk about Optimus and the million units that Tesla is targeting. Elon says that production will start on Optimus, more of like we're going to sell Optimus kind of production by the end of this year. Elon said, quote unquote, I'm like hopeful or optimistic that production will start next year. So it wasn't like a definitive thing that Elon said, but it sounds like they're planning for production by the end of 2026. I mean, if you know Tesla, you know it's probably like a 2027 thing. But again, I don't think it really matters if it's the end of 2026 or early 2027. If it's like late 2027, that's where, you know, the stock might get dinged a little bit between now and then at some point in 2026. But yeah, those were some of the major highlights that I heard. Maybe I missed a couple of things, but when I put that together with the earnings that we got today, I do think that Tesla is going to have a positive reaction to this earnings. Specifically, the two things that obviously stand out to me are 8 to 10 cities for Robotaxi this year and scaling of Cybercab by Q2. This is no steering wheel, no pedals. This is going to be really where the Robotaxi business gets started. Okay. So we got a lot more details on Robotaxi and Optimus as well, which is really the needle mover for Tesla at this point. So that sounded good. I want you guys to remember though, whatever happens over the next 2 weeks, like we're going to have the shareholder meeting on November 6th. And that is going to be probably a bigger catalyst than earnings, right? We talked about this, I believe, Sunday night and Monday, that, you know, earnings, this is really the first catalyst of what's going to be a bunch of catalysts into the end of the year. And yeah, I think Elon's compensation package being approved is probably a bigger catalyst than earnings, all of this put together. And that is going to drive a big move for Tesla. But I do think this was really good news today. I think we got a lot more than most people were expecting, a much better earnings than last time. Even from a numbers perspective, from a conference call perspective, it was a lot cleaner. Elon and the Tesla team really sounded better. They answered the questions a lot better, and we got some definitive kind of guidance to go off of as far as Robotaxi and to a lesser extent Optimus, because they're more uncertain around that. But Robotaxi, we definitely got more concrete guidance. Which is the main thing that moves Tesla at this point. So I think if we want to highlight that, mixed with the blowout earnings that Tesla had, I mean, blowout free cash flow, blowout revenue, basically blowout margins. Margins came in almost 1% higher than expected. There should be a positive reaction in Tesla stock tomorrow. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like. I think it's partially, you know, still uncertain how the markets are going to be tomorrow. We do have that big CPI report on Friday. It does look like the Russell here. It is 7:03 p.m. at the time I am recording this video. The Russell is up 0.07%. The S&P's flat in after hours trading here. So if we do get a little bit more of that risk on sentiment coming back into markets, then that's going to help Tesla stock, I would imagine. If it's another bloody red day like it was today, there's literally, I don't care how good the earnings were from Tesla, considering we have the shareholder meeting on November 6th, and that's such a big catalyst. The stock would sell off tomorrow regardless. But if we have more of a neutral market to a positive market tomorrow, for a lot of the areas that have been beaten down recently, I think Tesla is going to excel and do quite well. And honestly, you could see a 5 to 10% move tomorrow. I'm a little hesitant to, call for an even larger breakout from there because, again, such a big catalyst is coming November 6th, right? If Elon's compensation package does not get approved, the stock's going to fall 20% November 7th, okay? Literally, it's going to fall 20% in a day. If it's approved, it's probably going to rise 20% in a day, 10 to 20% in a day, I would imagine. So, earnings were never really a make or break thing for Tesla. I think that November 6th date is actually much bigger of a catalyst. But this is definitely some support for the stock. The stock has been trading very well. Really since mid-September, almost a month now, you've been kind of consolidating, trending higher. This earnings is not going to stop that, right? This earnings is not going to cause a crash in the stock, okay? Which is good because a lot of the time earnings does cause a crash in Tesla stock. And we have to remember that Tesla is up, from last earnings where the stock was, following earnings like a $297 stock. Today it's $439. So the stock's up 47.5% from last earnings. Again, with that, the stock's down 3.5% in after hours. Although I think we're gonna have a positive day tomorrow. It's validation to the rally that we've seen. It's validation support, if you will. A lot of stocks rally big in 3 months and then give it all back on earnings if it's bad. Okay. So I think the expectation was a little on the higher side because of the 3 months we've seen prior, the 47% rally. But this was definitely much better than expected. Really across the board. Really across the board. The numbers, impressive. The commentary, the conference call, outright impressive as well. So again, really doesn't change things too much until November 6th. If Elon's compensation package is passed after November 6th, then you can look at these earnings and say, okay, we have a really good setup. But again, even if Elon said they're going to produce 1 million Optimus robots by next year, I don't think the stock would look much different than it does right now, right? Because the November 6th date is so important. And hopefully that makes some sense for everyone. So, yeah, that is going to do it for today's episode. Hit that like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.